Monday Soul Deliciousness. As a reminder, if you've been here before or if you're new to our little tribe, I'm streaming off multiple platforms. So I love it if you say hello and tell me where you're from, even if you're watching the replay. But just because of how my streaming software works, I can't always see your names. And so I apologize for some of my platforms that'll just tell me that it's a Facebook user and I can't see your name. So if I don't say hi to you personally, just know that it's not because I don't see your message. So welcome is what we do here is on Mondays at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We dive into a topic that we can use right off the get-go to give us a boost to just keep us going, because I don't know about you, but right, man, life can take a toll for sure. So we're here about building collective consciousness, building everybody up. And I'll just be honest with you. I have tons of energy and I like to share it with other people. So in case this is your first time, my name is Amy Jorgensen, and I am a practitioner in multiple fields of energy work. And I also have a master's degree in education leadership. And this is absolutely my purpose and my passion. So we're going to talk about, as you can see, a midlife crisis. So I had this wonderful conversation with someone today at work, and I'm going to tell you about it. But first, I've decided October 15th seems like a cool day. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to post this for you. We're going to have a googly eye motivational thing, because I don't know about you, but when I see googly eyes stuck on stuff places, just makes me laugh. It makes me realize that there are other people in this world that are fun and crazy, just like I am. And so I'm going to post to you googly eyes. This is where I got my googly eyes. So this is a bag of like 1,000 googly eyes. Let me get my graphic off there. It's taking up like half the screen. There you go. So these are my googly eyes. And the reason I picked this one is because multiple personalities, just kidding, but no, I really do have a few. There's different colors of eyes in here. And so I didn't want to just do like regular eyeballs, although there are regular eyeballs in here, but there's green ones and blue ones and red ones and pink ones and whatever. And they're also different sizes. So anyways, they have little sticky backs on them. So you can, go to your favorite ghetto Walmart store and put them on things just to make people laugh, but they peel off really easily. So you're not like damaging stuff. I'm sure, I could probably go to jail for that, but I always welcome the vacation time. So there you go. There's how you can get your Google Eyes. So we'll do this then like on October 15th. I'll make little posts. Maybe we'll do a giveaway, right? Who's not in need of a free energy session? And we can post where we put our little Google Eyes, and it'll just be fun because, we like to connect with our inner child. Okay, so let's talk about this. A midlife crisis. Now, this word midlife crisis, I was like, wait, hold off. As I was talking to this other person, they were like, maybe it's not really a midlife crisis that people are going through. And oh, by the way, we're not specifically talking about my midlife crisis, although I will tell you, I've had like 5 of them. So I would say I'm pretty much an authority in this field because I have lost and thought that I have found myself a few times. Thank goodness this last time, my hand was kind of forced a little bit more than probably previous. And I had to really get into some authentic places and get honest with myself. So I'll claim to be an authority in midlife crises. I'm not talking necessarily about the buy a Corvette kind, but let's talk about what's really going on here. So what if it's not really a midlife crisis? What if perhaps you just got tired of hiding yourself, tired of making yourself mesh into like what you think everybody wants you to be. And so by the time you get to be about, now let's remember, I'm only 27, but by the time you get to be around in your 40s, then, you kind of just had it. I remember going through a check ride. So it's what a check ride is. It's when you're a pilot and you have to go on this flight with a instructor pilot. And so they're a check ride examiner is what they're called. And so they basically, from start to finish, they watch your flight. So in the military, we're going on missions, right? We're not just flying from an airport to an airport. So you have to do this like 2-hour briefing and talk about everything that's going to happen on the flight and what the expectations are of everybody else. And if you have an emergency, what you expect the other people on the flight to do. And so it's very exhausting actually. And I remember talking to this examiner. It was when I was at, I think I was in Oklahoma at my pilot training qualification for the KC-135, which is this, I don't know where it is. It's over here, this gray thing right here, it's Boeing 707. And I remember my instructor pilot telling me, because I was like, oh, you also have to take a written test. And I was telling him, like, I have to get 100 on my written test. And it's not too hard to do because it's one of those canned tests where, like, you know all the questions and everybody has the test bank for it. So as long as you study the 500 questions, you pretty much can do it. And he was like, yeah, like, I remember being like that, but you know what, you're gonna have a nervous breakdown one day. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But there's a lot to that, because you would get to this point in life where, if you're like me, like, you've pushed yourself so hard and pushed yourself so much because there's these expectations that you're trying to meet of other people. And I know for me, I know the exact person in my life that's expectations that I was always trying to meet. And guess what? I can tell you now, at my age of 27, which is really probably 42, I can never meet that person's expectations. Like, it's impossible. So I'm wasting all of this time and energy trying to be this person, trying to condition myself to be who I think that they want me to be. And so you get to this spot where you just, I mean, you're so exhausted from trying to be everything that you have this sort of breakdown where you feel completely powerless. Maybe you've even been victimized, right? I mean, I know for myself, when I was in my marriage, like, it just got to this point where I just couldn't do it anymore. It was like, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to freak out. You know, it's a mental health crisis is what it starts to become, because I'm going through this pattern of cyclic abuse constantly of, I promise I'll never do that to you again. I promise I'll be nice to you. Promise, 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 right? And then I don't have boundaries anymore, because I don't want to, you live in fear. You get into this space where you sort of become fearful. You're fearful of being lonely. You're fearful of losing everything you have. You're fearful of letting other people down. And so you get to this point where you can't do it anymore. And so you become kind of powerless, and you just sort of melt down. And sometimes you're being victimized. And so you just have I like to call it a flip out moment. And in that case, you go from being like overly obsessive and overly just really in this like cycle of making everything perfect constantly, because you're trying so hard that you're like, honestly, I'm just going to say it. You're like, the hell with it. And you do. And so then think of it like a pendulum, right? So a pendulum, you know, the thing on the clock that moves back and forth, if you're in this like nice balanced place, your pendulum's kind of hanging out right here. And then, you know, as you go through life and you're trying to be everything that everybody wants you to be, like, swing clear over to one side. And let's say, like, right in the middle is who you really are, your authentic self. So you swing way over to one side, trying to be everybody that you think that everybody wants you to be, you know, because you're so criticized. Like, why are you laughing about that? Why do you like horses? Why? I mean, I remember, like, growing up, absolutely passionate about horses. And my dad hated them. And so he would make just comments about, why would anybody like a horse? They're so stupid, blah, 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 right? So what do I learn? I learned that there's guilt behind liking horses. Like, it's not okay because my dad's telling me that it's not. And so you pendulum swing all the way over to one side. So by the time you're in your 30s and your 40s, you are being someone that you don't even recognize if you were yourself looking at yourself, if that makes sense. And so yeah, you do. You get to this place where you're so far past your authentic self, off to one side, you just have a freaking meltdown. And then the problem is, what do pendulums do, right? Your pendulum's clear over here. It's heavily weighted. When it swings back, you don't stop in the middle, back where you are, your authentic self. What do? You go full blown the other way, right? And that's why we call it a midlife crisis, because then we see people, you know, buying cars and going out to the bars and who knows whatever you want to, you know, categorize a midlife crisis, because you just have gotten to the point where you're so tired of being responsible and so tired of caring for other people that you just are like, I don't care anymore. And you basically you get into a danger zone because you've gone so far to the other side. So, of course, I'm always here to help you, right? And you know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. If you're sitting there and you're like, dang, I think this is me. Like, I feel like I could be at this point. I don't know what to do. It's not a good place to be. I remember, it was just Kinley's birthday yesterday, and she would be 5 today. I remember being at the hospital and my ex being so abusive to me that I was crying in a bathroom stall. You know what? I'm just going to tell you, I'm sick and tired of hiding everything that happened to me. So he was accusing me of sleeping with her doctors, and she was like, I don't know, 7 days old. And I was down at Primary Children's by myself, and I was bawling in a bathroom stall, and I didn't know what to do. And I just had gotten to that point where I was like, I can't take it anymore. My daughter is fighting for her life, and I'm being, mentally just abused to no end. And so what do I do? And I was going to go check myself into the hospital next door because I was in such a behavior spot of, it's just a destructive place. But I'm telling you this because I want you to know, like, I've been in these spaces. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I just can't take it anymore and I don't know what to do, like, resonate with me that I know what that feels like. And you know what? This was 5 years ago. And so it's taken me a long time to get to this space. Sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, Amy, you've been through so much and look at you. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? You didn't see the space in between. You didn't see the space in between the day that I buried my daughter on Halloween of 2017 and the space that I'm at today, now in October of 2022. You don't really see the space of where I've come from full circle. So don't give yourself some grace if you're in that spot and you're like really fighting to survive right now, and know that if you look at me and you're watching me in my crazy little Facebook page, because I'm all over the place, right? You'll see that I'm like totally ghetto 1 minute. I'm totally this really spiritual person the next minute. I'm telling people to get bent the next minute. The next minute, I love peace and hope because I show you my authentic self. That is my personality. And I've had people say before, well, you have to pick something. And you can't be on a social media platform when you're like 360 with your personality. And guess what? My response to you is I can, because I want people to see, like, this is me. This is me in my authentic self. And so I'm going to tell you, like, how do you get to this place? And it's called becoming a proactive person. Okay. So I don't want you to pendulum swing to one side and go all crazy and start hating and trying to get resentment from people. Just that's not a healthy space to be, but you can't suppress those emotions. So a lot of times when we get into this place and we do have this blow up, we feel lots of resentment for other people because we start blaming them for placing us here. How many have been there, right? We start blaming our parents. If my mom wouldn't have raised me like this, if my dad wouldn't have treated me like this, if my spouse wouldn't have blah 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 blah. But the problem is, we got to take accountability for ourselves, because the reason that we're in those spaces is because I love this phrase. You don't know what you don't know. One of my instructor pilots in college said that. You don't know what you don't know, but you really don't. So sure, I can easily beat myself up and say, you should have done that instead. You should have had some boundaries. You shouldn't have let people walk all over you. You shouldn't have cared what so-and-so said. But in the moment, it's way different. And so looking forward, it's like saying you already know the lottery numbers. Well, of course you would pick them if you knew what the winners were. So don't beat yourself up. So becoming a proactive person, this is where your focus needs to be. And I'm going to read this to you because I want to make sure that I get it right. I want your focus to be on this, because you're learning to love yourself. You want to show people what you love, what you want, what you stand for, so people can see your purpose and passion. That's what being a proactive person is, because the opposite of that is being a reactive victim. So you're filled with rage and hate and resentment, and you're trying to get back at people, right? You're in that mode of like eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, when in reality, you just want to be resonating back to that space of love. And, I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm the type of person when people are like, just love and light and let. There's too much fire. There's too much fire in the spicy soul. I can't just be like love and everyone, because that's just not me. Right. And I'm here to tell you, You saw, if you watched my TikTok, some doofus came by and ripped through the road up here and was passing another car. And the dude just like barreled through my garbage cans. And I was sitting on my porch, which is quite a ways off the road, but I heard it. And I saw my trash can like go flying. He blew the wheels off of it. Trash is all over my hill. And so you saw me as I walk out to the road. I'm like, mother clucker, blah, 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 right? Karma. I'm the queen of karma. Is what I want you to know is I feel my feelings because I'm not going to suppress that and be like, I'm not mad that someone just took out my trash cans. But I don't also sit there and be like, curse your soul. I hope you die tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like I feel my feels. I'm really frustrated that someone did that. But I didn't go like on a headhunting expedition and go find the person and whatever. Like what's done is done, right? So I feel it in the moment. I make a TikTok out of it. I'm incredibly sarcastic. Sarcasm is my love language. I make a TikTok out of it. I be sarcastic and then I move on. I let it go, right? I get on the phone with the city. I get myself a new trash can, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to sit and become a victim to it. So that's what I'm talking about. So be the proactive person. Allow people to see what you love, what you want. When I say what you want, it's that not conforming. It's allowing yourself to tell other people what you want. Like if I don't want to eat a pink sugar cookie just because everybody else is having pink sugar cookies at work, that's okay. And I'll be like, yeah, I don't want a pink sugar cookie, because you get to that space where you're able to say and voice things. Because otherwise, how many of you just do stuff, just do it? Like someone offers you a cookie and you're like, well, I don't want to be rude, so I just eat it. But we do. And think of a different example if that one doesn't really resonate with you. But I see that all the time. Well, I didn't really want that, but I did it because someone offered it to me and I don't want to be rude. Or someone's doing something to you and you don't want to be rude, so you don't tell them what you want because you're like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, but yet you're allowing them to hurt you. And so we disrespect ourselves so much. So showing people what you actually want, telling people, just be honest. You can be tactful about it. You don't have to be rude, but you can communicate still. So what you stand for, but do it kindly. So what do I mean by what I stand for? If there's something that I really resonates with me, like for instance, I've been in the military and, I have a fondness for having firearms. So do I go around like constantly drilling that into people? Like I have the right to carry blah, 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 blah. No, I don't. But if someone asks me, I'll tell you, absolutely. And I'm not going to fight with you. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I don't need you to resonate with the fact that you think that I should have a firearm or you think you should or shouldn't. I don't care. I really don't care. So the other one is allowing people to see your purpose and your passion. There's not one person that I am around that doesn't have a clue as to what my purpose and passion is. In fact, there was a point where one of my bosses asked me like, Amy, what's your purpose and passion here at work? And I was like, I don't have a purpose and a passion at work. I don't, right? I don't get my purpose and my passion. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love making crackers that have smiley faces on them. It's really cool. But if I don't go to work tomorrow, there's nobody going to notice. They're just not. I mean, well, the people that I work with, I'm saying like no one else in the nation is going to know that I didn't show up for work. But if I don't show up on my Facebook page tomorrow, somebody's going to notice, right? Because what's my purpose and my passion? My purpose and my passion is to lift you up and to help you get out of those dark spaces. Okay. So finding yourself. This is why I do what I do. So you can check out all of my resources. I have groups. I have all kinds of stuff that you can dive into. And I get it too. You'll notice, I'm an energy practitioner and my sessions are so affordable compared to what the going rate is for a 60-minute session. And so people are like, oh, you don't value yourself. Wrong. I do value myself. It's just that I also value the fact that I want everyone to be able to participate in the stuff that I do. And so that's why I offer that. And it's a purposeful price, okay, in which I resonate with. So this is why I do what I do. I offer what I offer because I want you to fill your cup first, because I know that if I help you fill your cup, guess what you can do? I can only fill so many cups at once, right? I can only fill so many cups at once. I only have so much time in my day. But if I fill your cup, you can fill other people's cups. And then it's a trickle effect, right? Their cups being filled, they can fill. See how that goes? Building collective consciousness. That's what it's all about. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. So I'm going to tell you, take a deep breath, because if some of you are like, dang, there's a lot in here that sort of just pierced me, and I'm feeling a little bit like, wow, I'm always going to tell you, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Sometimes we need it. We're so damaging to ourselves. So give yourself some grace. Start to focus on being proactive by, getting in tune with, what do I really love? What clear out all the stuff that you've been told. What really resonates with me? What's my purpose? Where do I want to be? Because we get so stuck in this cycle, right? And then give yourself some grace. Start focusing on being proactive. What do I love? What am I showing other people that I want? What are people seeing? What am I attracting? Because you attract what you're giving, right? And then voila, you can become a magnet for happiness. Ta-da! There you go. Okay, guys, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. In fact, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. Hopefully you are having beautiful weather. For those that are coming out of the massive hurricane destruction in Florida, sending you lots of energy and vibes for you to just feel some peace and be able to get the resources and the things that you need. And I hope the rest of you are enjoying some beautiful weather. It's gorgeous here in the northern part of Utah. It's beautiful. The leaves are turning. It's crispy and nice. I don't like what comes next, but it's okay, because I find my zen through the winter and I make it. All right.